Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.
You're watching South Asia NEWSLINE, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Tuesday, the 18th of March. Jaishankar slams UN cites Kashmir issue, calls for fair global order. China welcomes PM Modi's positive remarks on bilateral ties. And Pashtun activists accuse Pakistan of targeted murders and oppression. And now for all the details. The Raisina Dialogue, India's premier conference on geopolitics and geoeconomics, is currently being held in New Delhi. Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar, speaking at the event on Tuesday, emphasized the need for a fair and strong international order akin to a domestic one. He criticized the UN for equating the attacker and victim in the Kashmir dispute. A report.
While speaking at the Raisina Dialogue on Tuesday, India's Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar said the longest-standing illegal occupation of a territory after World War II has been experienced by India in Kashmir, and highlighted the selective application of global rules on issues pertaining to sovereignty and territorial integrity. He also spoke about the West's geopolitics of convenience with regard to Afghanistan's turbulent political landscape in view of Taliban's rise, fall, and rise over the past few decades. Jaishankar emphasized the role of the West in shifting the narrative of Pakistan's invasion of Kashmir from an act of aggression to a diplomatic dispute. The Raisina Dialogue, which is being held in New Delhi from March 17 to 19, is hosted by the Observer Research Foundation in partnership with the Ministry of External Affairs. It is India's premier conference on geopolitics and geoeconomics, committed to addressing the most challenging issues facing the global community.
A day after Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke about improving relations with Beijing, China has said it appreciates his positive statements on China-India relations. In a press briefing on Monday, China's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning referred to the meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and PM Modi, describing it as a moment that provided strategic guidance for the improvement and development of bilateral ties. Being partners in mutual success and achieving dragon-elephant dance, cooperation is the only correct choice for China and India, Ning said, adding that China is willing to work with India to implement the consensus reached by their leaders. She highlighted the 75th anniversary of diplomatic ties as an opportunity to promote cooperation across various levels. PM Modi's recent remarks came in a podcast with Lex Fridman, where he discussed relations with China. Modi acknowledged that while disagreements between neighbors are natural, dialogue is essential to ensure differences do not escalate into disputes. Relations between India and China deteriorated following a military standoff in the Galwan Valley in May 2020. However, tensions eased in 2024 after both sides announced a fresh agreement on patrolling along the line of actual control, which was followed by a bilateral meeting between Modi and Jinping. Residents of Quetta in Balochistan on Monday expressed concerns about safety amid heightened security following violent incidents in the region. The BLA, Balochistan Liberation Army, has claimed responsibility for a deadly attack in Noshki district on Sunday, where a vehicle laden with explosives was driven into a paramilitary convoy, killing at least 5 and wounding over 30. This attack comes just days after the BLA hijacked the Jafar Express train in Balochistan on March 11th, blowing up train tracks in an attack that killed 31 soldiers and civilians, the military said. Quetta residents are opting to stay indoors rather than venturing out for Ramadan Eid shopping, citing persistent fears of terrorism and violence. The city of Quetta remains on high alert with multiple checkpoints established and a heavy deployment of security personnel. The Zeri flyover, situated behind Quetta cantonment, has been closed until further notice due to security concerns.
अमान की सूरत हाल इतना खौफ दिलों पे फैली हुई है कि हम लोग शॉपिंग की तरफ रुख ही नहीं कर सकते हैं। डरते हैं इससे कि खुदा न खास्ता भी कोई ऐसी कोई हरकत ना हो जाए, कोई ऐसा वाक़या नहीं हो जाए। और सिक्योरिटी फोर्स वगैरह जो है बहुत टाइट किस्म की जारी है, मगर उसके बावजूद मैं इस चीज़ को हैरान हूँ, उसके बावजूद भी कोई हरकत, कोई इस तरह वारदात, टारगेट किलिंग वगैरह हो जाते हैं तो यकीन करें हम बोलते हम घर में बैठ के महफूज है, बाहर नहीं है।
And highlighting the human rights violations in Pakistan, rights advocacy group, the Pashtun Tahaffuz movement, on Tuesday staged a powerful demonstration outside the UNHRC in Geneva. Protesters condemned the recent killings of prominent PTM leaders and activists, blaming the Pakistan army of a targeted crackdown on Pashtun voices. A report.
Rights advocacy group the Pashtun Tahaffuz movement on Tuesday held a massive demonstration outside the UN Human Rights Council headquarters in Geneva, denouncing a series of targeted attacks and crackdowns on Pashtun activists and leaders in Pakistan. Addressing the protest, Malik Bazai, coordinator of PTM Europe, condemned the recent killings of prominent PTM figures as he accused the Pakistani army and provincial Punjab government of orchestrating these incidents, stating they are a deliberate attempt to silence PTM's advocacy for Pashtun rights. Fazlur Rahman Afridi, president of PTM International Advocacy, also addressed the gathering, warning of a worsening crisis in the region.
Now there is astronomical increase in the extrajudicial killings of notables, religious and nationalist leaders, especially recently a very renowned religious leader and Pashtun nationalist Mufti Munir Shakir was killed by the proxies of the state of Pakistan, and we hold the Pakistani Army Chief General Asim Munir responsible for his extrajudicial killing and for all this chaos and insecurity in the region. The Pakistani state is responsible for all this.
हमारे साथ जो जुल्म हो रहा है या पीटीएम के साथ जो जुल्म हो रहा है, पीटीएम के खिलाफ जो ब्रेकडाउन हो रहा है वो डायरेक्टली पाकिस्तानी फौज कर रही है। ये इस वजह से कर रही है कि हम अपने हकूक़ की बात करते हैं, हम पंजाब से आज़ादी की बात करते हैं, हम अपने वसाइल पे अपना इख्तियार मांगते हैं। पंजाब इस्तेमारी रियासत पाकिस्तान में पश्तूनों पे, बलोचों पे, सिंधियों पे, सराइकियों पे, कश्मीरियों पे जो जुल्म ढाए जा रहे हैं।
PTM activist Mustafa Khogiani also highlighted the dire situation, emphasizing the targeted killings and detention of PTM leaders in Pakistan. The protesters condemned the Pakistani military's alleged role in enforced disappearances, extrajudicial killings, and drone attacks in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The demonstration concluded with calls for justice for the victims and an urgent appeal to the UNHRC to take cognizance of the deteriorating condition of Pashtuns in Pakistan.
और उधर हमारा सिचुएशन बहुत ख़राब है। पाकिस्तानी फौज जो हमेशा उधर टारगेट कर रहे हैं और हमारा लोग मार रहे हैं, हमारा लोग उठाता है, वो जेलों में डाल रहे हैं। तो पाकिस्तान में हमारा हालात इस टाइम में बहुत ख़राब है। हम दुनिया से यही रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं कि प्लीज़ हमारे लिए अपना आवाज़ उठा लो, हमारे हक़ के लिए थोड़ा आवाज़ उठा लो। और इधर भी हम आया था, हमारे सारी दुनिया से यही रिक्वेस्ट है कि पश्तून इस टाइम में पाकिस्तान में बहुत ख़तरनाक हालात में है। हमारा उधर
A day after the United States Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard raised concerns about the situation in Bangladesh, Dhaka termed the comments as misleading. In a strongly worded statement, Bangladesh Chief Advisor Press Secretary Shafiqul Alam said the interim government rejected Gabbard's remarks as misleading and damaging to Bangladesh's image. He said the comments are not based on any evidence or specific allegations and paint an entire nation with a broad and unjustified brush. Alam further stated that groundlessly linking Bangladesh to the idea of an Islamist caliphate undermines the hard work of countless of Bangladeshis and their friends and partners around the world who are committed to peace, stability and progress. Bangladesh strongly condemns any effort to link the country to any form of Islamist caliphate, he said. Tulsi Gabbard, in an interview with Indian media outlet NDTV, has raised concerns about attacks and persecution of minorities in Bangladesh and linked it to the ideology of an Islamic caliphate. Notably, the Muhammad Yunus-led interim government has been under fire from the opposition and its Hindu-majority neighbor, India, for attacks on minorities, mostly Hindus, who are considered close to the Awami League, following the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. And with notebooks in hand, Buddhist monks clad in saffron robes patiently counted monkeys seen near their temple at Sri Lanka's central city of Dambulla, as the country began a wildlife census this past weekend in a bid to manage the animal populations to cope with agricultural losses. Agriculture accounts for 8% of the country's economy and employs 8.1 million people. But coconut production, along with vegetable and fruit cultivation, has been hit due to crop destruction by monkeys, peacocks and giant squirrels, a top government official said.
බෞද්ධ රටක් මේකේ සත්තු ඝාතනය කිරීම මැරීම සම්පූර්ණයෙන් හොඳ නෑ. ඒක අපි හිලා දකිනවා. ඒ වගේම පිට රටවල් වලට පටවන එක අපි කැමති නෑ. ඒ වගේම අපිට මේකට කරන්න තියෙන විකල්ප ශීපයක් තියෙනවා. එකක් තමයි අපේ එක්ක අපි මේ සත්තු අල්ලලා අරගෙන ගිහිල්ලා දූපතකට.
A 72-year-old farmer in Dambulla counted 45 monkeys, 6 giant squirrels and 9 peacocks in the 5 minutes allocated for the census. With an air gun across his shoulder, he spends hours patrolling his 8-acre plot of farmland that has been struggling with crop losses for years. But he says tribes of monkeys still strip trees of hundreds of coconuts and pick mangoes while peacocks swallow long beans whole.
අවුරුදු 10කට විතර ඉස්සරලා රිලව් දෙතුන් දෙනෙක් වඳුරෝ දෙතුන් දෙනෙක් එහෙම ඌරන්ගේ හානි එච්චර ලොකුවටම තිබුණේ නැහැ. ඒතකොට ඉත්තෑවොත් ඉන්නවා. ඉතින් ඒ වාගේ හානි තියෙනවා මොනරුත් දැන් එන්න මොනර ගහනේ වැඩි වෙලා. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මේ ක්‍රමයෙන් තමයි දැන් වැඩි වෙලා දැන් සත්තු නිසා ගොවිතැන කරන්න බැරි තත්ත්වයට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
Saturday's census comes after an incident in February when a monkey caused a nationwide blackout and power cuts lasting for 3 days. The census aims to find solutions to tackle the menace. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.
Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.